So people still need that external motivation at times, but majority has to come from within. Because when the coach is removed from your life, you're not going to have that voice in your ear anymore. You're only going to have that self-sabotaging voice.
Ever feel like you're in a constant competition between your career and your husband's patience? Your kids think you work too hard, but hey, you're doing it all for them, right? The struggle is real, and I've been there too. Moments of feeling like a crappy mom and wife because once again, your kids had breakfast on their way to school, and you've got more important things on your plate than cooking and cleaning. Hey there, working moms who are juggling a million things and still wondering if you're doing it right. I'm Veronica Cisneros, and I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist, a mama of 3, and married for 24 years. Welcome to the Empowered and Unapologetic podcast, where we dive deep into the messy, chaotic, and sometimes hilarious world of mastering motherhood, marriage, and business. I get it. Balancing it all was never the goal, but here we are, trying anyway. I'm here to share my journey and guide you through yours. No more apologies for being driven, and definitely no compromises on your dreams. Together, we'll navigate the challenges of being a powerhouse in both business and family life. Join me as we tackle the uncomfortable conversations from being the breadwinner to changing the rules of what a marriage looks like. Let's figure out how to parent in a working parent household without the constant arguments or guilt. I'm Veronica Cisneros, and this is Empowered and Unapologetic, where we embrace the chaos, challenge the norms, and strive to live life on our own terms. Get ready for some real talk, actionable tips, and a few laughs along the way. Hey, ladies, welcome to the Empowered and Unapologetic podcast. I am your host, Veronica Cisneros. Today, we're continuing our focus on Suicide Awareness Month by discussing a crucial aspect of mental health, self-care, and personal wellness, especially for professional busy women. Joining us today is O'Neil Luscombe, the founder of No Limits. O'Neil and his team specialize in transforming the lives of busy professional women by resetting their metabolic rates, enhancing physical health, and consequently improving professional and personal relationships. Today, we're going to dive deep into how prioritizing personal health can fuel not only your body, but also your relationships, including your marriage and your role as a mother. We'll explore the negative impacts of negative self-care and how positive changes can enhance every aspect of your life. O'Neil, thank you so much for jumping on.
Yeah, you're making me feel like a Hollywood movie star with that intro.
Hey, listen, every single one of my guests is going to go ahead and feel like a Hollywood star.
Woo, I love it. I love it. Making me feel good today.
All right, so let's kick off with explaining what No Limit training is all about and what makes your approach unique, especially for busy professional women.
Sure. So what we're all about, I guess, is, as a good coach, a great coach, it's all about belief breaking, which I'm sure we're going to get into today, Veronica.
Absolutely.
My story kind of starts off with being because it's kind of unorthodox, right? A guy's on a woman's only podcast that only coaches women. It's like, what's going on here, right? And no, I'm not confused in my gender. I'm a man, right? I'm a man. So my story is starting off with being raised by a single mom of 7. And when I was, about 2 years old, my father was deported back to where he's from. And it put my mom into a pretty, don't want to say on the recording just in case.
No, you're good.
Okay. But yeah, so it kind of put her on a downward spiral of finances, mental health, physical health.
Yes.
We were in and out of women's domestic abuse shelters growing up. And by the time I was 10 years old, we moved about 8 times. So a lot of instability, right? Yeah. So that's kind of why I became a coach for women. And what makes us kind of different, I guess, is my story. I have a pretty it used to make me uncomfortable talking about my story, but I think the story really resonates with the woman that we coach. And everyone and their mom is a fitness coach these days, right? It's like there's a
Yeah.
dime a dozen. So, and there's a lot of good ones. I'm not going to lie. I know a lot of people think that, there's a lot of fraudsters out there, but
Yeah.
majority of coaches are actually pretty damn good. So
Yeah.
it's not what you should really be worried about. It's more so like, can I resonate with this person's story?
Yep.
And maybe their personality. Because some people, like, myself, and I feel like you too, Veronica, listening to your podcast is like a no bullshit kind of
Yeah.
person,
No bullshit. Let's do it.
just straight shot, straight shooter. And then some are going to be a little bit more, I wouldn't say empathetic, because I think we're still empathetic, but a little bit more giving you that grace. But I think like enough people have that in their life. You have a partner, you got your friends, you got your
Yeah.
colleagues. And I think people need like a little bit of tough love, but from a place of compassion.
Yes.
So beyond like our systems and our method, which is unique on its own, I think our stories is kind of what separates us from, like I said, the billion thousand other coaches out there. Yeah.
Absolutely. I know for me, my dad, I don't know if you know this about me, but my dad was a heroin addict, alcoholic,
Wow.
and a hardcore gang member.
Mm.
And so growing up, we had all kinds. We had our phones tapped. We had,
Wow.
SWAT team come over for dinner. Like legit, we had a bunch of that going on.
Mm.
And I remember for me, it was like, okay, I need to save my mom. And my mom
Right.
probably didn't need to be saved, but in my eyes, it's like I need to
Mm.
figure this shit out. Like I need to figure out the formula. How do I get my dad sober? And then how do I help my mom? My mom keeps on telling me to know your worth,
Mm.
but all of these women are calling our house, are calling our house, and like all of these things are happening. So I'm getting all kinds of mixed signals, but I'm a kid, so I don't really know what the hell's going on. But I know
Right.
what's happening just doesn't feel right.
Mm.
And being on a newspaper route as a kid to try to make ends meet because my dad was a barber, and
Mm.
sometimes he got paid whatever he worked, like however many
Yeah.
haircuts he did, that was his paycheck, right? And so I remember like, well, we got to find dad, right? Because
Right.
he's the sole provider. And going with my mom to apartments to clean them, going on
Yeah.
newspaper routes, like selling candy at the front of our house. Like literally, my mom was so creative and trying to figure out how to make
Love
money.
that.
And for
Mm.
me growing up, it was like, okay, I just got to figure out the formula. I got to figure
Yeah.
out the formula to save my mom and build up her confidence so she eventually can leave my dad, and then figure out the formula on how to prevent my dad from using.
Right.
And I never figured it out, right? Because it,
Mm.
it wasn't my job to figure it out, but as a kid,
Yeah.
I embraced that. How did you do the same thing growing up, or what was it like for you?
No, I think probably the opposite. I was just a bad. Can you swear on here?
Yeah, well, I literally cussed every single word. Yes, please.
Well, I don't know if that it's only
We
a
cuss
host
laws
thing or
too,
a guest
Costa.
thing.
No,
I
no,
was
no,
gonna
no. Me?
say.
Yeah. No, we keep it
Uh,
real here. Come on, ladies. We keep this
okay.
shit real.
Love that. Okay, so yeah, I was gonna say I was a bad motherfucker growing up. So,
Yeah.
no, I wasn't really trying to solve anyone's problems or even my own mom's.
How
I
old
was
were you?
just
Are
too.
you the oldest, youngest? Where are you at? Because I was the
So
oldest, so I
I'm.
had to,
That makes sense, right? Yeah,
right?
you have more maturity, more responsibility. I
I don't
was
know
the
about
middle
maturity, but
child, so
oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, this makes perfect sense.
yeah, I was the Hellraiser. So, and that didn't really stop until I was like 26. Yeah, so I was just too busy getting in trouble, I guess, to be solving people's problems.
You know what though? I don't know if you know about this about me, but I'm a
Mm,
licensed therapist,
mm,
and most of the middle children, child,
mm-hmm.
most
Child,
middle
yeah.
child. Yeah, I'm not,
Mm-hmm.
whatever. This isn't an English class, but most children, um, most of them struggle with like it's kind of like the squeaky wheel. We call them the squeaky
Mm,
wheel. And why? It's because they're pointing out, they don't know how to point it out, but they're literally saying, hey, something's happening, something's wrong. And so you're acting out based off of what is happening. And so
right.
you're trying to figure out a solution to escape, to numb, to no longer deal with these emotions. And so yeah, it comes out in maybe unhealthy, I won't say bad behavior, but it'll come out in unhealthy
Mm,
behavior. And you'll continue that unhealthy behavior because you're like, no, dude, for real, there's a freaking
yeah.
fire somebody come and help us. Like, look, I'm doing all these things to get your attention,
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I mean, in so many ways, you were trying to figure out the formula, but you were trying to figure out the formula
Mm,
by like you being noticed so other
mm.
people can come to the rescue.
Right.
Again,
Makes sense.
right. It's not the
Hmm.
healthiest way, but how are you going to know you're a kid,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. You're just learning about yourself, learning about
You're,
life, and
you're trying to
you know
figure
when
out your
you're
own life.
yeah when your mom is busy as hell working and taking care of the other kids, you're just taking care of yourself on a certain level, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you also, although maybe you're doing all of this behavior, you also
Mm,
don't want to be a burden. And so you'll go out on your own. You'll go out on your own and you'll do
mm,
certain things that lead to trouble. And although that might
mhm.
not have been your intention, it's like, dude, listen, she has so many kids, 6 kids, right?
7.
Seven kids.
Yeah.
She has 7 kids. I'm gonna try to figure this shit out by
Crazy.
myself. I got this. I got this.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, maybe I didn't figure it out that time. Maybe I didn't figure out that time. And
Mm,
unfortunately, what ends up happening, is now you start to feel as if, well, I'm just a bad kid. Like I
mm,
must be a bad kid. And you hold on to that. And now it's stuck in, well, fuck it. I'm just a bad kid.
mm.
So that's all that people are going to expect of me. So why not continue this? Because I'm not getting my
Yeah.
needs met any other way, right?
Yeah, I think I
Can
actually found identity in that, like being the bad
yes.
kid. And I think I found pride in that because when you're a
Hmm.
lost
Hmm.
soul, what else? You're bad in school, like what else are you good at? So it's like, oh, I guess like now that we're talking about this, actually, I don't think I've even thought about this before. Shout out to you, Veronica.
I got you. I got
um,
you.
yeah, but it's just like I guess I found like pride and identity in being that bad crazy kid
Yeah.
because that's
Yeah.
what got me like recognized. I guess, like you said, yeah,
Yeah. If you don't mind, I'd like to talk about this more. I know
sure,
I want to kind of let go of the agenda and just go with this.
yeah, let's get it.
For me, right? For me, I always try to be the good kid. Like,
Mm,
always try to be the good kid. I tried to, not that I got straight A's all the time, but it was like, I need to I need to hide and mask everything that's going on. So
right.
I need to present as if I got my shit together. And oh yeah, we're not poor. We're not poor.
Mm,
My dad's a barber, like he gets to make his own money. And so we
mm,
can't claim like all of the things we have. I know shit would
mm,
say that. Like I was in this program, it was an upward bound program, and it was for underprivileged youth that wanted to go to college. So we would go to UCSD for while we were in high school, and we'd get college credits. And everything was free. I got to stay in the dorms. We had an RA, all of the things. But I remember like it's underprivileged kids, so all of us are
yeah.
poor. But I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm not. I'm not. And I would try to mask it.
Mm,
And again, trying to overperform. But a lot of the shit these kids knew, I didn't know, but I would pretend as
mm,
if I knew. And sometimes it would bite me in the ass and I'd get found out. But for the majority, it was always me trying to be something I was not to prevent being found out.
mm,
Because then I'd be a disappointment to my mom and I would add more weight
mhm,
on her that she didn't need.
right.
And then I wasn't a good leader for my brother and sister because, well, if she doesn't have it together, they're not going to come to me. And they needed to come to me because my dad would beat
Yeah.
my mom. My dad would
Mm,
beat my mom for a good amount of time. And so it was like, I remember all of these things were happening growing up and trying to go ahead and fulfill that role of being the trophy kid. And so
mm,
for you, now kind of as we're processing through this,
yeah.
I guess I would ask you what comes up for you? Like what memories come up for you or what things come up for you where you're like, holy shit, it makes sense. Like I wasn't a bad kid, but these are the things that I would do.
Um, what comes up in terms of what exactly?
Like just with me sharing how I wa- I needed to fulfill that role, and I
Mm,
ended up embracing that role even though it was phony as shit,
mm.
and trying so desperately to be it.
Well, let me ask you this, Veronica. Did you enjoy that, or did you not enjoy it? Did you like at the end of the day where you're like, man, this is not me? Did you feel like that, or did you feel good
You
about
know,
trying to
yeah, yeah,
put
yeah.
on that
No,
mask?
I love that you asked that. Um, I don't think I knew. I
Mm,
don't like I know now as an adult,
yeah,
but
looking
I
back.
don't right? But to be honest with you, if anybody would have said, "Veronica, this ain't you. Like you're trying to overcompensate for all the shit that's going on." I'd be like, "Okay." And then I would keep on doing it. If somebody was to even ask me, right? If somebody was to even ask me, "Are you enjoying this?" I think I would totally put it back on them. Like, I think I would be like a
Mm,
smart ass and be like, "Well, are
yeah.
you enjoying this?" Right? Again, because we don't know what we don't know. And I mean, the
Yeah.
same could go for you, right?
Mm,
Like I love the fact that you said, "Well, I just ended up becoming it. I ended up becoming this this badass motherfucker." Like it got to a point where it was like, "Well, fuck it," right?
yeah.
I think if we went back there and, I walked up to you and asked you, "Do you enjoy this?" You'd be like, "Are you for real right now? Like, what are we doing?
Mm,
Like, what are we doing right now?"
yeah.
I don't know, right? Because we don't know this. We don't know this until
Yeah.
we start growing up. And I think this is why, this is why we are in the position we are today. And we
Right.
are kind of going back to what you're saying and how you were describing like no limits. There, yeah, you can take this coddle approach, but with your own history, with your own background, with your story, this is
Hmm.
what truly sets both of us apart from, the average therapist that has a clipboard in her hand and writing, useless shit down, right?
Yeah.
This sets you apart from other coaches because it's like, nah, dude, I've been there. Like, not only
Right.
have I been there, but I can truly understand what you're going through because I've maybe not felt the same level of pain or
Hmm.
been under the same circumstances, but I've been through some shit,
Mm, that's right. Yeah, I was actually
right?
I was having this conversation with someone. I think it was yesterday, but I can't remember. Like what you. Oh yeah, she said. She asked me a question about like credentials, right? Oh no,
Yeah.
she. I don't know if this is the right word, but she kind of belittled herself, where she was talking about a certain subject, and she said, "Well, I don't have the credentials in this." And she
Mm,
was telling a story, and she wasn't really meaning to tell the story where it's like that this is my credentials, but then I kind of pointed it out to her where I'm like, your story is your credential, because
yeah.
I'd rather work with the person who's kind of been through hell and back or been through whatever it is that she's talking about, rather
Yep.
than someone, no offense to the college kids, but someone fresh out of college and all they have is theory.
Yeah.
I'll take the practical any day of the week. And
Yeah.
I think too many people get wrapped up on like you said, the paperwork on drawing on the board, the credentials, right, the certifications. And there's a lot of people with that paperwork that aren't very good at what they do. But the
Yep.
people with those stories, when we look at the most successful people in the world, they have a story. Even
Hmm.
think about what we want with this guy, but Mr. Amazon, Jeff
Yeah.
Bezos, and you see that picture of him working in his garage. He's got a story, right? Of how he made
Yeah.
Oprah. Think about whatever with
Yeah.
her. I know she has like a good and evil side, whatever. But she has a story of what she's
Hmm.
overcame, right? And
Yep.
that I don't. Who's gonna ask Oprah? Hey, what's your credentials, Oprah, to be interviewing me right now? No. You look at her story and it's like, holy shit, girl! Like, give me some
Hmm.
advice. Let's go,
Yeah.
right? So
Absolutely.
yeah, that's just came to mind.
Absolutely.
Hmm.
Absolutely. How do you believe personal well being, specifically through resetting metabolism and improving physical health, impacts one's relationship and their marriage?
One's relationship with their marriage,
One's relationship with themselves and their
with
marriage.
themselves. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, let's start with yourself. Um, I find it very hard to believe that you could have good relationships with anybody if you don't have a good relationship with yourself. And that does include your kids.
Yeah.
Okay. And sure, that may be controversial because, hey, I'm that mom that will do anything for my kids. I'll die for my kids.
Yeah.
But then what if we flip that around and say, when are you going to start living for the kids?
Yep.
Right. Because if you're the mom or the dad, when I say mom, I'm not just singling out a mom, but this is
Yeah.
for women. Right. So
Yeah.
when you're that mom who's taking your kids to the park and your kid wants to go and play and you can't even get off the bench, are you really like living for your kid?
Yep.
right? I don't know, because those are the memories that your kids are going to grow up with and remember the rest of their life. I
Yeah.
actually remember more painful memories, which is probably not a good thing, than the good times. Or maybe it's even a balance, but I think I kind of remember more painful stuff, to be honest with you,
That's the way
right?
our brain works. Yeah,
Yeah.
our brain attaches itself to negative memories like Velcro.
Mm,
It attaches
exactly.
itself to positive memories like Teflon. So that's why.
I like
Mhm.
that. I like that.
Mhm.
So yeah, going back to the relationship with self, if you don't have a good relationship with yourself, things will crumble. Maybe not now, maybe not the next
Yeah.
5 years. But what about when your kids leave the house and you got nothing else to live for, right?
Yeah.
You just gave 18 years of your life. You look in the mirror and you lost your identity. How can
Mhm.
any marriage survive that? Because
Yep.
marriage is not just to be with someone and you finish your 8 hour day, you get the kids ready for bed, then you sit on the couch and you watch Bridgerton on Netflix, and there's no
Yeah.
sex, there's no good conversations, there's no
Yep.
dates. That's not really a marriage, in my opinion, right?
Yeah.
Or at least a healthy
Yep.
one. Like, I guess it's a
No,
marriage,
well,
but
I
it's not
mean,
a healthy one.
no, it's
you
not a
know,
relationship. Yeah, no,
it's
it's
not a
either a business
relationship,
deal or you
exactly.
guys are roommates, right?
Mm,
It's now become this business deal.
that's
What are
right.
some what are some of the common challenges that busy professional women face that
Mm,
could negatively impact their marriage? You're mentioning our physical well-being.
hmm
That physical well-being is so important because unaddressed, it then turns into, on my end, what I see is it then turns into anxiety. It then turns
Right.
into depression, which then
hmm
leads untreated. It then leads into these suicidal thoughts,
mm,
and well, I'm only living for my kids. And then it goes into, well, my kids don't even appreciate me. My husband doesn't even see me,
yeah.
and then they start to wonder what it would be like if they didn't wake up the next morning. And
Mm,
so it literally starts to like just roll down and become this
yeah.
avalanche of all of these issues that could have been prevented. What are you seeing on your end?
Yeah, like I've been in business since 2019, and we grew this company pretty quick, 0 to 7 figures in 22 months.
Yeah.
So I've done a fuckload of consultations, like
Yeah.
probably 2,500 or more
Yeah.
consultations. So 25 women, okay? Sorry, 2,500 women, not
500
25
women.
women, 2,500 women.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. And out of those 2,500, we've coached probably around 1,500 of them. So the common thing that I see with these women, and you're so right, kind of letting one thing turn into a snowball that
Yeah.
grows into a bigger thing,
Yep.
is the belief systems that they have about lack of time, lack of financial resources. Even these high achieving women, sometimes I'm actually seeing the high achieving women are more cheap with their money, which is crazy to me, than the ones that are broke. And it's just like, what the fuck is that? They have a really hard time separating from their money. I actually think I have like a theory behind this. I think the middle class or who grew up middle class have the hardest time separating from their money because
Yeah.
their parents were so like, turn the damn light off,
Yeah.
eat all the food off the plate, your plate. They're
Yep.
very like stingy, right?
Yeah.
Now, I don't know about, I can't speak for everyone, but I can speak about my household and my friends because I grew up with them.
Yeah.
The poor household, my mom would spend money like it's going out of season, right? Like Christmas, you would think we're multimillionaires every Christmas with my mom, right? This girl had
Yep.
every present that she could. I don't know how the hell she did, and I don't think I want to know how. But
Yeah. Yeah.
she was able to pull every gift that we wanted every single year, right?
Yeah.
So I just feel like people have to break a lot of beliefs in order to become the woman that they want to be. And they have to stop lying to themselves because that
Yes.
thing about, giving yourself grace. I do believe in that, of course, but grace is not months and it's not years. It's maybe
No.
okay. Let's give you some grace here and say we'll give you a few months. Okay,
Yep.
maybe you had something really tragic, a divorce. Okay,
Yeah.
but when do you stop giving yourself grace and say, you know what, I'm fed up, I'm angry,
Yeah.
right? I'm upset, not even just with the ex-husband or whoever, my job, my boss, whoever, my
Yeah.
clients. I'm fed up with myself, and that's what they can't say.
Yeah.
Right? It's like they everyone wants to point the blame on everyone else.
I know looking for the right therapist can be challenging. However, feeling overwhelmed and disconnected is even harder. Life is filled with several twists and turns, some more severe than others. We do our best to handle them as they come, and find ourselves at a loss, not knowing what to do or who to turn to. The clinicians here at Outside the Norm Counseling are here to help. We are here to assist you through this time of need. Together, we will identify your strengths and goals and teach you healthy coping skills. Together, we will develop a plan to help you live the life you want to live. Our team is compassionate, genuine, and we take a great deal of pride in providing an empathetic, non-judgmental approach to all of our clients. It's time! You've waited long enough, whether it be for you, your child, or if you're in need of a couple session. We are highly trained clinicians ready to guide you. Schedule an appointment now by calling 951-395-3288. Again, that number is 951-395-3288. We're looking forward to meeting you and being a part of your journey.
When do you find, so like for me, people will come to me when they're like at their wits' end.
Yeah.
When they're at their wits' end, when they're sitting in they're sitting in a Target bathroom, rocking back and forth, having an anxiety attack, and their kids are fucking running around the bathroom, right? Or maybe, I've had plenty of women that have come and it's like, I stepped out of my marriage. They've stepped out of their marriage, or they struggle with, I'm outgrowing my husband. I'm making so much, I'm making a significantly more, than my husband is. And he's not catching up. And I'm already thinking about getting a divorce. So a lot of women come to me once it's like, they're at
Breaking
bat. Yeah, they're at bat. And it's like, okay, shit or get off the pot. Like, and they want to make sure that they're making the right decision, whatever that decision is. When do you notice that people will pick up the phone and contact you or connect with you? Like at what level are they at?
So they'll get on the phone, even if they're not at breaking point, but they're like nearing it.
Okay.
But they'll make the decision when they're at breaking point, usually.
Yeah.
Or they're actually at rock bottom. It's one of the two.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
There's very few clients that I've ever coached in my lifetime, and these clients have always been actually some of the best, where they're more of a preventative mindset, where they have the awareness. Like I have one client, her name is Angela. She doesn't mind me saying she's a testimonial story. And this lady, so she's a busy real estate agent. She only had like 10 pounds to lose. But it wasn't really necessarily the 10 pounds. She just felt like she was in a body that wasn't hers after 2 kids. The kids were like 7 and 8. So imagine giving for 7, 8 years. And no offense to her hubby, because he's a great guy. I know him personally. I actually got him into sales, so he's crushing it now. She felt like she was outgrowing him.
Yeah.
Right. And it was causing a lot of mental strain in her life. And she feels like she's just like, no matter how much she does for the household, no matter how much she does for her marriage, no matter how much she does in her business, she's still not fulfilled.
Yeah.
Right. So that was the breaking point for her. And she was more like a mental breaking point, not a physical. Because honestly, if you looked at the girl, she looks pretty good.
Yeah.
But she just couldn't handle, I guess having to take all that on, all those responsibilities on, and have that mental capacity to still perform in her personal life. So that was her, I wouldn't say breaking point, but she was aware enough that she sensed that breaking point was coming. And that was one of our most successful clients.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
What do you think it is? So you mentioned, she wanted to lose 10 pounds, right? And obviously there's more to that. There's more than just her losing those 10 pounds. Mm-hmm. But I hear that a lot. With, if I could just lose these 10 pounds, I'm going to be good to go. What would you say those 10 pounds really represent? Because, most of us already know what to do, right? Mm-hmm. And we won't do it. And so oftentimes whenever people will come to me and say, I have this anxiety or I have this depression or, whatever issue they have, the way I work is developing an understanding of what this actually represents to them and how has it protected them, right? How has it protected them? How has it provided them with this false sense of security? And so in saying that, what would you say for your client? What did those 10 pounds really represent to her? And why was she so hell-bent on putting up a fight and letting them go?
The 10 pounds represents having an area of their life that they're not successful in that has caused so much frustration that it leaks into other places. And I feel like for any high achieving woman, especially a businesswoman, you know, that has built something great or has created a family, even if she's a teacher, right? Maybe she's not a businesswoman, she's just a teacher that loves what she does. There's always going to feel like a piece of her is missing, a piece of her fulfillment. And she correlates a lot of the things going wrong in her life with the 10 pounds, right? Because, women may not think it's for men, but it is for men too. Like, to be able to go to your closet and not have anything to wear because you're just embarrassed with the way you look.
Yeah.
Even if it's 5 pounds, 10 pounds, it's like, for that woman, maybe she was an ex-athlete, right? Or she used to play soccer, or she used to be in great shape before the kids. And the kids have totally, I don't want to say, these women say they'll wreck their bodies, but I'm not going to repeat that. But, that's what some of the words they'll use. They use pretty harsh freaking words, some of these women, to themselves, which is crazy. But I feel like that's what it kind of represents, is a puzzle that no matter how much other things they do to fill that puzzle, there's that piece that's missing. That's how I kind of see it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why do you think they put up such a fight to keep the 10 pounds? Like, where do you think that's coming from? Why is it there? Because it is a fight. You know what to do. You're not doing it. Why do you think they put up such a fight to go ahead and keep the 10 pounds, even though their goal is to lose it?
I think there's a lot of different reasons for different women. You have some women that are just like so in fear of failure, of course, right? Doing something, especially these business women that have built great things, they don't want to feel like a failure, right?
Yeah.
So to go in and tackle a goal for a lot of these women that has been like sometimes a lifelong battle, right? Up and down with their weight, or their confidence, or their self-esteem, right? A lot of these women. So go tackle a goal that they're not certain in. Because when you start a business, you got to have some certainty, right?
Yeah.
Or when you make a business decision, you're never 100%, but like, you know what? Fuck it. I feel good enough, right?
I can make it
I'm
happen.
at 80%. Yeah, I can make it happen. I'll figure it out, right? So their fear of failure, it's like, even if they were to fail, they know they can pivot and do something else, right? That's the confidence that they have. Women, when they go and tackle that weight loss goal, they don't think the same, which is weird almost, right?
Yeah.
Because it's all the same shit, right? It's just a goal, but it's a very hard goal, because business, you got to turn off technically 12-hour day, 14-hour day. You still got to kind of turn off. But a personal development goal, whether it's mental or physical, that's all day long. It's every decision that you make.
Yep.
Right? It's every choice.
Yeah.
So that's one way, but I think there's a few.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
I feel like it ends up becoming the identity. It ends up becoming their complete identity. And I'm going to hold on to this, but I'm not going to admit that I'm holding on to this, because I'm not even ready to look at it, but I'm going to continue to tackle this. I'm going to continue to tackle this. But this right here, it screws us up, not just the 10 pounds, but what the 10 pounds represents. It screws us up so much. And it ends up becoming a form of self-sabotage. And it literally bleeds, right? It literally then bleeds into our relationship with our kids. It then bleeds into our relationship with our partners. It bleeds into even our businesses. What advice do you give to clients to ensure they maintain the positive changes they experience and continue to thrive in both their personal and professional lives when they work with you?
Great question. That's the $1 million question, right? Because there's a million different ways you can lose 10 pounds and get there. There's very few that can sustain it. Actually, I'll give you the stats. It's 97% of women are unable to sustain the weight loss from any program that they've done. 97. That's almost everyone.
97?
Okay? 97.
As I drink my water.
We know that's wine. Come on, don't lie.
No, I couldn't. I would never. I'm in my office. I would never.
It's Friday. Come on, I'm kidding. And then another crazy stat to kind of go a little bit deeper on that is the average woman spends about 17 years of her life focused on weight loss as well. 17 years.
I totally believe that. I
actually think it's more.
Wholeheartedly. I agree.
Yeah,
I agree.
I think it's more. I agree. Yeah.
I think it's more. I think it looks more like a lifetime.
A lifetime. Yeah.
I shit you not. I think it's more of a lifetime. Well, I mean, from what I've seen, especially working with kids, that shit starts around 5 to 6 years old.
Mm.
5 to 6 years old, little girls are already looking at their stomachs. They're comparing themselves, and they have nothing. They have
Yeah.
nothing.
What's
But
there?
right? But I
Yeah.
have seen it. I have
Mm.
seen it. I have counseled kids with eating
Mm.
disorders that were like 8 to 10 years old.
It's
And it's
crazy.
like, yeah, so I agree with you. It definitely is higher.
Yeah.
It
So
definitely is higher.
what we hold people accountable is not the weight loss, right?
Yeah.
The weight loss will come, okay? We hold them accountable to something we call the unbreakable promise. So on my
Tell me more.
consultations, I go, yeah, I would love to. We go pretty deep on these calls, right?
Yeah.
And the least amount of conversation back and forth is about the weight. The two biggest things that we talk about, Veronica, one is being consequence, which
Ooh.
everybody runs away from.
Yes.
Consequence,
Yes.
right? The cost
Absolutely.
of an action.
Yep.
The second thing is the vision. I think personally, consequence is one of the biggest drivers of human behavior when you use it correctly.
Mm-hmm.
So the unbreakable promise is, asking something like, how can I frame this? Give me a sec. So I just don't want to sound too generic. I'll just give you a generic one, okay? So an unbreakable promise is something like, if this was to continue, Veronica, and let's use an example with the lady, okay? She's got 20 pounds to lose. She feels like she's failing in terms of how she's showing up as a mom. Okay.
Yeah.
There's no sex life. Intimacy is at its worst.
Yeah.
No energy for the kid. She's basically on autopilot. Every day is
Yep.
the same shit. And she just
Yep.
feels like she's stuck, which is a scary
Yep.
place to be. So an unbreakable promise is first you get the cost and the consequence. So the cost and the consequence can be something like if she's been going in this cycle for 3 years, Veronica, what is the cost or the consequence if this was to go on for another 3 years? I don't ask it exactly like that because it's generic and I think it's kind of boring, but that's
Yeah.
a way to ask it. And then she's gonna fight me a little bit back and forth. She's not gonna just
Yeah.
give it to me.
No.
She's gonna have her friggin' self defense on
Yep.
100,000, right? So we have
Yep.
to tear down the walls. But let's just say we get those walls down. She's gonna say something like, "My marriage is gonna end." Okay, that's generic. I need more than that. Okay.
Yep.
So I'm going to give her some pushback and I'm going to challenge her at her hardest moment, which most people back up. I'm going to lean in.
Yep.
So if your marriage was to dissolve, you guys go separate ways. What does your life look like then? Well,
Yeah.
now I'm a single mom. That's how I grew up. Like, just the lady going to say this. That's how I grew up. And, I feel like I didn't really have a connection with my mom.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So how did that affect you? Well, blah, 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 blah. Like, she can tell me
Yep.
how it affects her. How do you think it's going to feel? I'm just using your name, Veronica.
Yeah, no, let's go.
If your daughter went through the same struggles that you have gone through growing up, how do you think that's going to
Yes.
feel?
Yep.
Well, it's going to feel like shit. Well, that's not good. I'm going to keep pushing back, right?
Yep. Yeah.
Well, what do you mean by that? Feel like shit. Now she's going to give me a detailed explanation. I need to be able to paint myself this vision of her cost, her pain. I need to feel I should feel emotional hearing this shit from her, right?
Yes.
Those are the women. Once I can get that, these women kick fucking ass in coaching. And that right there is what we hold them accountable. That is the unbreakable promise. Other people call it the why, right? But
Yeah.
that is the unbreakable promise that we hold anyone accountable to. Because it's very easy to lie and disappoint ourselves. We do it almost all of it. We almost do it every day,
Yep.
right? All the time. Even professionals like you and me, Veronica, sure, it's mitigated because we've trained ourselves to mitigate it, but we still fuck up. I'm drinking a Red Bull, right? You know what I mean? So with the rum in there, okay? This ain't an office. This is my house. I'm drinking the rum. I'm kidding. But yeah, so that's kind of what we hold them accountable to. So when this lady feels like giving up, which will happen because she's not perfect. None of us are. She's not a freaking robot. When she's frustrated, when she's tired, when she's exhausted from her day, and she doesn't feel like doing it. Hey, Veronica, do you remember what you said was your unbreakable promise? Yeah. I need to lead my daughter by example. Do you feel like you're doing that right now? No.
Yeah.
Okay. So what are you going to do about it? I'm going to do X, Y, Z. Okay. Can you make me that promise? Yes. Can you make your daughter that promise? Yes. Okay. Yeah, and that's the unbreakable promise right there. So I don't really tell people what to do. I make them tell themselves.
No. Yeah, they won't do it. They won't do it.
They won't do it. because it's a external motivation. You need like intrinsic. It has to come from within. There is times that you got to apply some pressure to people. I know people say that's not a good thing.
Oh
Sometimes
no.
when he's
Listen, I'm
right,
challenging your ass.
yes, exactly.
Yes.
It's just like you got to do it properly. So people still need that external motivation at times, but majority has to come from within. Because when the coach is removed from your life, you're not going to have that voice in your ear anymore. You're only going to have that self-sabotaging voice.
Absolutely.
Right? And that voice never goes away. I've been training that voice for 5 years now. It's still there. It's just quiet, but sometimes it's loud. Right? And when I'm tired and when I'm exhausted, that's when it starts to speak up. Yeah, it's louder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For those that are skeptical about the impact of investing in personal health on their marriage, on their life, what would you say to convince them of the benefits?
Yeah, you know what? I think like I'm tired of selling myself and I'm tired of selling them. I'll be honest with you, right? It's like if you can see all the change in these people, look, it doesn't even have to be like my testimonials, okay? Yeah. It can be go read an autobiography. Like we were talking about this earlier, right? Go read an autobiography of a woman that you respect.
Yeah.
Maybe it's your grandma. Maybe it's your mom, right? Maybe it's a businesswoman that built some kind of crazy, amazing empire. I'll give you a really popular lady, Sarah Blakely. You know Sarah Blakely?
I don't think so. What does she do?
She's the creator of Spanx. You know Spanx?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Hell yes. Me and Spanx are best friends. I'm not wearing them right now, but hell yeah, we're best friends.
That's why I use Spanx, because every girl knows Spanx, right? Yep. So go read her story. Don't listen to this random coach on the podcast, okay? Because you're not going to trust me. Go read Sarah's story. Go read anybody's story that's been successful. Most of them came from the bottom, okay? Yep. And sometimes what I've realized is the bottom is not always poverty. I thought it was. I thought that's what starting from the bottom means. It means they built something from fucking nothing. Maybe their parents were a teacher and a police officer, right? Not everyone has a crazy story like me, Veronica and I, and that's okay. You don't need one. You don't have to come from poverty, which I always thought.
I hope you don't.
Right?
I hope you don't.
Yeah, I don't wish this on anybody. Thank God. Amen to that. But yeah, like I just don't want to keep selling myself anymore, because I feel like even I can tell them a 1,000,001 transformation testimonial stories. Yep. They still don't almost like believe it. So I want you guys to go and do the homework yourself of someone that you respect and go look at their story. It'll change your life.
Best answer. Best answer. Yeah. If there was one key takeaway you'd like our listeners to remember about the intersection of personal health and relationship satisfaction, what would it be?
I think because we're talking to the lady who feels like, you know, she's making good money in her career. She's a high achiever. She's killing it. She's crushing it. But there's that puzzle piece missing. And that puzzle piece is her own self-development, whether it's her body confidence, it's her energy, it's just the way that she views herself, right? Her self-esteem. And you're busy as fuck. Let's just say you're busy as fuck, okay?
Yeah, you are. Yeah, they are.
You are. So you have to start making decisions out of a place of vision, meaning the woman that you want to become, not the woman you are today. And the reason why that's, give me an amen on that one, okay?
Yes, amen. Amen.
So the reason why it's so hard for people, not just because change is hard, but it's because those actions and behaviors and those habits have built amazing things.
Yeah.
Right? But it's that famous of what got you here, exactly, is not going to get you to the next level. You have to shed, right? You have to grow. You have to evolve. You have to adapt to a new way of living, especially because the world is moving so fast. You can't get left behind, right? Which you will. So I want to think, or I want you to think, as you're already that woman 3 years from now. You're working out. You're taking care of yourself. When you look in the mirror, you feel sexy. Your sex life is the best it's ever been, right? It's like almost like you and your hubby just started dating almost, okay? Think of things like that and start visioning it, and then start acting like that woman by making decisions like that. So I don't always believe in affirmations, but I do believe in actions, right? So you have to back up the prayer and the manifesting and the whatever else that people do, the yoga, whatever else these people do these days, with the actions. Because if you don't have the actions, like prayer just falls on deaf ears, right? Yeah. So making decisions out of a place of vision, not circumstance. Because your circumstance, you're busy as fuck, you're tired, you're exhausted. Okay, that's been the last 3 years. Start making decisions as if you weren't that person.
Beautiful. For those that want to work with you, where can we find you?
Sure. Yeah, hit me up on Instagram at @no_limits_training. Hit me in the DMs, and I'll be actually, you know what? If you hit me in the DMs, and Veronica, what's the podcast name here?
Empowered and unapologetic.
Hit me with empowered. I like that. Because if you say unapologetic, I might be like, hey, what you talking about? So yeah, hit me with the word empowered, and I will give you a free 5-day course just for Veronica's listeners. That's my gift to you. It's focused on hormones, metabolic health. It's very, very good. It's got the workouts, nutrition. That's for you for free, just for listening to Veronica's podcast.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, O'Neil, for joining us today and sharing such powerful insights. To our listeners, remember that investing in your health is not just about your physical well-being. It's about enriching every aspect of your life, empowering your relationships, and nurturing your mental and emotional health. O'Neil, thank you again.
Thank you so much, Veronica. I appreciate you.
Absolutely. Raise your hand if you are ready to level up your marriage for 2023. Do you find that you're spending your time together with your husband checked out and in front of the TV? I know you're ready for tangible strategies that actually get you results. Reignite the spark in your marriage, have fun, and grow together. Well, I hope you have your hand raised at this minute because I have something special for you. I'm introducing my brand new 6-question marriage predictor quiz that's gonna give you personalized results to catapult you into the next stage of your marriage journey. That means you'll receive the results to where your marriage can get the best help. If you've got just 1 minute, head to veronicacisneros.org/quiz. Again, that's veronicacisneros.org/quiz, and you could take my brand new quiz, Marriage Predictor. Get your results delivered right to your email address. Again, that's veronicacisneros.org/quiz, veronicacisneros.org/quiz. What's up, ladies? Just want to let you guys know that your ratings and reviews for this podcast are greatly appreciated. If you love this podcast, please go to iTunes right now, write a review, rate the episode, and subscribe. Don't forget to share it with your friends.